And here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Oat. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today we're live. And we're going to drink some bourbon.
I'm assuming. I don't know what we're drinking.
Yeah, I don't know what we're doing or what we're drinking.
You don't even have your Glens out in our handy Baker Drinks things here. We've got a ton of chatter going on in the comments here.
This is what happens when you show up late.
Yeah. We, if you guys, I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but we did set the time on this one for 10 minutes.
Sometimes life gets in the way, Ben. Sometimes life gets in the way.
Yeah, I knew I was going to be running a little bit late for tonight, but we do have John Matlick. John, one of the reasons I'm late tonight is because I had to make a run to the post office. So you have got some goodies on the way to you. He won the blend.
Wow.
And then I dropped a little care package off for Major as well down at Hayes.
That's
I had
cool.
to have a beer while I was there. I'm not going to just roll in there and not have a beer. We got Chris Jenkins, what's up? OG Brick.
OG.
Sugar Kitty is here, so we got, I still haven't changed it.
Sugar Kitty. You know
We've
what?
got Steve Jones.
We learned, while Sugar Kitty is a faithful and dedicated watcher, thank you so much.
Yeah.
When we go for a surprise live on Sunday afternoon, Sugar Kitty missed the boat.
It was weird not having Sugar Kitty in the chat. Like we had, I was... Thank God we were doing stuff we knew about, because who are we going to ask?
Exactly, yeah.
You know, if we could have run into some serious problems with that.
Hey, Troy's there.
Troy is here. Baker Drinks.
Maybe Laura, we don't know if she's behind the scenes.
Steve Jones is here.
OG some more.
I think I saw JT in here. Where's JT? I thought I saw him in there.
There, right there.
Yep, JT. All right.
No, well, John said hi to. Oh, there he is. Yep,
Yep,
JT's
right there. All right, sweet. Well, so we don't really have a plan for this. Other than the fact
are you talking about our channel in general? Or can you be more specific?
Almost 3 years into this, and we don't have a plan for what we're going to be doing. Ben Sanders cheers from Georgia. Well, that answers your question.
Well, I was going to ask, but maybe there's a Sacramento, Georgia. Probably not.
Could be. So I think.
Do you think Ben Sanders is new, or is he?
I don't recognize the name from previous live streams, so welcome, Ben Sanders.
Yeah.
So let's get a little bit of bourbon poured. I'm still kind of on baby watch here, so.
Oh, yep. So
I talked to my daughter beforehand. So for those of you that don't know, I'm on the verge of becoming a grandfather, a first-time grandfather here, and so I'm kind of waiting on that, because it could be any day now, any minute now. And he's
nervous.
Yeah, and so I checked before the live stream. I'm like, "Are you feeling? You good?" She's like, "Yeah, no signs of anything. Okay. Go ahead with it."
Excellent.
So I think I can have a bourbon or two here.
Okay.
What do you want to drink? Do you think we should get rid of some of these samples? We've got some half drink. I know you love the Penelope Rio. I'm not really a big fan of that. Do you want to kill that?
Yeah, I could knock that out.
Yeah, because truth be told, I need to free up some sample bottles to send some stuff out here.
Amberana.
And honey.
So, Sugar Kitty, homework assignment number 1. Turns out I
feel like you need to move that way just a tad to keep our framing.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason for that is because...
The camera moved.
Caveman. Sorry, guys, can't stay long. Fred Minnick is tasting his top 100. Who's that? That must be another... I'm just kidding. Well, it's nice to have you in here for the moment. Big Cat is here. We need to come up with another cat noise for Big Cat here.
Cat noise.
Yeah, Granddad. OG Brick.
Yep, he's working on it.
Do you mind if I kill this Lucky 7 14-year 100 proof?
Go with God. So my question, Penelope Rio, I feel like I really, really like the flavor, but the name doesn't match the flavor. Like, they shouldn't have called it Rio.
Well, Amberana is a Brazil thing.
But but that's not how I think of it. And so maybe, I don't know, maybe it's me that's wrong.
Well, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil.
But I envision more like a rum flavored. This is not rum style. I don't know.
I don't know what Amberana tastes like on its own. I don't even know what the hell it is. I think we discussed this in a previous live stream, and they told us it was like a liqueur or something like that.
All right.
So anyway, okay. So here's why I need to make sure that our framing is correct.
Okay.
Because I do have decorations tonight.
Oh. Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, we see the lights on the bar.
Well, okay. So I knew you were going to make fun of me as every
I'm not making fun of you.
Every Christmas that comes along, we put Christmas lights out to be festive.
Well, we want people to enjoy the scenery.
Yeah, and we go with the
green backdrop. Yeah.
But thanks to the technology and the folks over at
You're not gonna.
Jonathan Marty is here.
I don't know Jonathan or Marty. Is that one person or two? That could be two.
Well, hello to both of you. So I do have some Christmas decorations here.
It's probably not a video. Is it a video?
No, it's a. There we go. Bam.
All right. Well, I mean, we probably should have told people to sit down before we
Yeah.
did something that drastic.
So I don't know what if we need much more than that. I mean, so now we have Christmas lights and we have the banner. If you watch The Office, see, that's kind of a little bit of a ripoff of a joke from The Office.
Oh, okay.
They had somebody's birthday party and they just put up a sign that said, "It is your birthday." Like half inflated balloons. And by the way, I will say this, and I'll probably bust this out later on. If the festivities start getting like, if people don't feel like this is enough of a Christmas party, I do have digital Christmas, Greg, to throw in there, and you can just hide behind.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that's not easy to do.
So we do have reindeer, Greg, that we can bring in periodically just to keep the festivities up.
That's right.
Anyway, we don't have a topic for tonight.
I'm glad you went with Rudolph as opposed to like Prancer or something that would have been hard to explain.
Well, let's see how many bourbons you have. Maybe we'll get you prancing around the bar top tonight. So I do have something I actually want to bring up.
This smells like Cinnamon Toast Crunch cereal
With honey in it?
with honey and bourbon in it. Like,
I know, I could have done without the honey, and it's also a little bit medicinal.
Yeah.
So I am 50-50 on Amberana. So we've only had that is a bourbon, but it also has the honey barrel influence. And we've also had the rare character Amberana rye that Baker Drink sent us, which I just edited that, so that's going to come out either Monday or Thursday.
Okay.
Tomorrow's video is Bernheim Barrel Proof.
which is an awesome video and awesome whiskeys.
So, I'm getting the Wi-Fi signal again. Well, it says connection is unstable. Let us know in the chats if there's anything going on with the quality of the stream
Reindeer
here.
Greg.
Yeah, we got Reindeer Greg.
Bad Axe.
Bobby is in the house.
Who's Dylan? Dylan? Robbins?
Dalen Robbins,
Oh,
what's
Dalen.
happening? So, hey, Bobby is going live at 7:05 tonight. So he's coming on right after we are. So make sure you stick
Is
around.
that California time?
And then you can.
Or is that...
Well, it'd be 7:05 our time.
Okay.
So right after we're
So
done
Chicago
here,
time.
yeah, you can head over and check out Bobby's stream. Bobby passed 4,000. It's getting to the point like he doesn't even have to count the 1,000 marks anymore. He's just got to shoot for 5 and then 10,
Yeah.
and then the world is his oyster. So I'm just happy to witness it.
I'm not a big fan of oysters. You?
No,
Yeah, I'm
not especially.
Not a big fan of oysters.
Anyway, so I wanted to talk about something since
Okay.
we don't have a topic tonight anyway.
Well, go ahead and raise the topic.
So a friend of mine just asked me.
So is this a friend or a friend of a friend?
No, this is a friend, a dear friend of mine.
A dear friend?
Yes. Okay, go ahead and make the joke.
No, what joke?
So I was gonna say, I thought you were gonna make like a reindeer joke, like a deer.
Is that a thing?
It seems like the type of thing you would do. So anyway,
Don't know a lot of reindeer
this is
jokes.
the part I may clip. So anyway,
Okay,
so
let's get into the actual
okay,
discussion.
so a friend of mine sent me a text, and she was asking about. She's saying her neighbors wanted to get together and do a bourbon tasting. They were looking for recommendation on bottles. So you guys can throw in the chat here what you would think. But I kind of, whenever somebody asks me that question, I always kind of follow it up with like, it depends on who the group is.
So I have what I feel is a good answer.
Uh-huh.
And it takes a little bit of research, and maybe you go back and revisit some old Bourbon Note videos where we kind of explain some of these things.
Sure.
Until you don't know what you like and what you don't like.
That's exactly where I was going with it.
So I think you need a rye, a bourbon, a high rye, a low rye, a high age, a low age, and kind of like fine tune where you're going a bit.
And that's what, so I wasn't going to put a rye in because they asked about bourbon specifically.
Fair enough.
But so the reason, so I sent her a text back and I said, well, for lack of a douchier term, what's their level of experience? Because if you've got people that are pretty into bourbon, but they're looking to try something new, like they maybe like higher proof stuff and maybe they've explored a little bit, then maybe I'll bust out some, different stuff like a port night or you know something interesting and maybe a little bit kind of out of the norm. And I said, or they're new to bourbon, they're looking to kind of learn a little bit. She said more on that side.
Okay.
So I was thinking I would include a kind of basic down the middle bourbon, like Evan Williams 1783 would be a good one. Elijah Craig small batch would be a good one. Keeping them under 100 proof. A weeder.
And lower price.
Yep. And lower price too. Yeah.
Lower price, available everywhere kind of thing.
A weeder, so maybe a larceny. I would like to throw in Maker's Mark just because Maker's is just unique on its own. There's
And
nothing
totally
else really tastes
available.
like it. Yeah. And then I was thinking like a Woodford as something to explore that Brown Foreman profile. Why not?
If you're gonna go brown forming, go Old Forester.
Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of different Old Foresters.
There are,
and
but,
so I would rather, instead of doing Old Forester 86 and keeping it under 100,
I would do Screw Top 100.
I had that on the list. But I was trying to keep them under 100. But I was thinking also maybe work up to 100.
Yeah.
So I mean, that one could go.
Okay.
But I totally see your point on that because I was.
Sugar Kitty caught in on one of your
technical term alert. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, so like a basic kind of down the middle, a weeder, a brown foreman, something with a little bit of that kind of unique, that banana profile that's a little bit different, I think, than some other stuff. It's certainly noticeable.
Yeah.
And then like a high rye, like a Four Roses small batch or a bullet.
Or bullet, I think.
Basic bullet.
Or Four Roses hits that, but
Yeah.
a little bit higher price and a little bit harder to find.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of leaning more towards bullet.
I think
so. I'm thinking if they want to do like 4 or 5 bottles.
Sure.
I'm throwing out either Old Forester 86 or Woodford as a stand-in. I feel like Woodford's a little more common. You feel that at restaurants a little bit more. So if they kind of explore that and like it, then maybe that's something they can have when they're out. But anyway, that's going to be leaning more towards the idea of find a flavor profile that you like, and then come to the bourbon note, and we'll tell you what other what other bourbons kind of
would be similar. Yeah.
I mean, you could do like if you really want to get nerdy with it, like, okay, if you like Woodford, here's where you go from there. Old Forester, things like that. If you like Bullet, here, then hit the Four Roses and start finding some higher rye stuff. Maybe some Remus.
I would
products.
say throw Wild Turkey 101 in there, but
yeah, absolutely. But again, I was just kind of toying with that 100 proof mark.
Yep.
And the other thing that I would recommend, maybe throw in like a Russell's 10-year if you want to experience an aged bourbon that's 90 proof.
Yeah. And decent price.
Yeah, but the other thing is I don't want to send her back a huge list either.
Sure.
It's like, okay, I don't need all of this. I just need some pointers.
Yep.
The other thing that I would say if I was hosting a bourbon tasting is especially for new people, take the context of smooth and throw it out the window. Because when you're new, you're looking for whichever one is smoothest is the best one. Because it's the easiest to drink, and I understand that. But as you get further into it, obviously the smooth, you're not really looking for that. Try to look for flavors. Don't just judge them on, harshness or whatever. I mean, some of them are going to be a little bit rough around the edges compared to others.
You want the sledgehammer to the teeth.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, but not too much. I mean, you're staying low proof, but I mean, for someone who's brand new, even 90 proof could be a bit of a sledgehammer.
Yeah, but 80 proof is just, I don't know. I'm getting to the point I don't even recommend 80 proof whiskeys.
I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But for newbies, maybe that's the appropriate place.
Hatfield Barbecue is here. So anyway, I always wonder when
something Lee. What was that?
What? Bourbon Baller Lee?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's been in the chat before.
Yeah. Okay, I recognize the name a bit.
So, speaking of recommending bourbons.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I nearly had a panic attack.
Oh, you're like about to
listening to the Total Wine guy recommend horrible bourbons to this poor woman who was like, I was in Total Wine the other day.
Okay.
And this lady was in there, and she's like, "Well, I want to get a gift for my bourbon drop. Myron is here. 84 proof Tin Cup 10 for newbies. Tin Cup 10 is
I almost said that. It's
as
not a bourbon. It's an American. Mm-hmm. I really, really like Tin Cup.
And a lot of people say, as far as lower proof whiskeys go, that's going to be one that's high in flavor.
Awesome.
By the way, speaking of that, I killed that bottle of Sagamore Spirit Rye.
Good for
Just
you.
a regular Sagamore Spirit Rye. Now, it's a rye, and it's definitely a rye.
Sure.
Lover's Rye.
Mm-hmm. And it's not very good.
I didn't even notice until I got... Well, anyways. I was messing with my earpiece.
Yeah, I always said it's not very good, but it's okay.
It's good for a rye, but here's the thing. It's 83 proof, and I didn't know that until I got to the end of the bottle, because I don't drink it very often. And then it got low, and I was like, okay, I'm just going to have a couple of these. I got to tell you, for an 83, that may be the lowest proof, highest flavor whiskey I've had, that ratio.
That's not the finished one, right? That's the,
No, that's the Double Oak is the
Double
one
Oak
that we
is,
don't really
right. It's
care
Double
for.
Oak.
Anyway, Bourbon Hill at the Toll and Wine guys kill me. Can I help you find something? Have you ever heard? Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And now
Walcott.
I'm not going to say his name, but we know somebody who comments and comes in the chat that works at Total Wine.
Occasionally, yep.
And if you happen to come into his Total Wine, he's going to set you straight.
There are some honest brokers when it comes to distilled spirits.
Yeah, but I have never...
But they tend to recommend the Spirits Direct line.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I have never seen them recommend anything but Spirits Direct bourbons.
And we did a flight of 12 Spirits Direct, and we found 2 that were genuinely good.
And I found a couple more since then.
Yep, and then we found a few others, so they're not all bad. But you have to be a little bit careful.
A lot of them are. And so she was saying, well, he normally likes... What's up, Shredward? She was saying, you know, I want to get this for my son. He normally drinks Bullet.
Okay.
And he said, okay, well, does he normally sip it, or, you know, does he make cocktails? Yep. And she said he sips it. He likes Bullet. He's standing right in front of a whole rack of Four Roses products, and he recommends Lazy River, the King's County or King's Crest or whatever.
Sure.
And then some other new Spirits Direct one that I've never had before, so I can't comment on that one. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and guess that it's not great with our track record with those. So yeah, I was just, in the whole time, I was sitting like just shaking, like listening to it, like, oh God, this poor woman's going to buy a terrible bourbon for her son for Christmas. Mm-hmm. And to the point, and I'm not going to interrupt him. He's helping a customer.
Sure.
Not going to be that guy.
That guy, yeah.
But I almost went and found her in the store and approached her and said, "Excuse me, ma'am. I didn't mean to eavesdrop, but I couldn't help it over here.
But
you
I
were
did
recommended
say the Holy Inn
garbage."
Express last night.
Yeah.
And I also have like 400 reviews on the internet.
Yeah.
You can look me up, but not on that channel.
Yeah. That's a whole different one. Northwest Bourbon. Mark is in the house. What's happening, Mark?
Mark?
All right. So yeah, it was just so frustrating watching this guy recommend just terrible. And here's the thing: I know everybody has their own opinions and what they would recommend. I've recommended bourbons to people that they didn't like.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, I hate it when that happens. I try to hopefully, you know, you recommend something in good faith. But yeah, the Total Wine guys, just every single time I'm in there, all they recommend is those Spirits Direct ones. And again, some of them are good. Most of them are not. And they're just... Nancy Fraley is here. What's up, Nancy?
What is up, Mrs. Fraley?
Good to have you in the chat. And yes, I'm just sitting there and it's just like... I don't know. Total Wine is kind of really falling off for me.
I was in the other day and I was actually really impressed. I almost bought a really expensive bottle of bourbon. Mm-hmm. And
Which one was it?
It was the Old Elk cigar cut.
Okay.
But I decided instead to buy a couple of bottles of wine. We had a personal event in our life, and I would rather celebrate with a nice bottle of wine just because.
Sure.
So ended up buying a nice bottle of wine.
Was Leah celebrating as well?
Yes,
yeah, so you guys, she doesn't like bourbon,
exactly.
so you can share that with her. And, I actually, you know what, I've been getting into wine a little bit lately.
You should.
Not getting into it, meaning I drink a bottle of it, I guess is what I mean by that. I didn't drink it in one sitting, though. It was over the course of a couple of nights. And I used to be into wine, not in the sense that I'm into bourbon. Like, I don't know anything about wine, but I've been learning a little bit.
I don't know a ton about it. I know there's a couple of grapes that I like, and they tend to be good in any brand.
Yeah.
So I don't know any more specific than that. But.
So I actually opened up a bottle of red wine. I was watching a movie. Sometimes I get this. When I'm watching a movie and they're having a cocktail, whatever that drink is, I tend to start wanting one.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so whenever I'm watching a movie and they crack open a cold bottle of beer, I immediately go to the fridge and grab a beer. So anyway, they were having a glass of wine. I was watching Ted Lasso, actually. And I was just like, man, a glass of red wine sounds great right now.
To be honest, it really does. I kind of agree.
Yeah, and what I actually found was it was kind of like sipping a whiskey in the sense that, you know, it's something you sip slow, but it doesn't have the alcohol. Now, you're going to pour a little bit more than you would for a bourbon, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it's something that lasts a little longer without the alcohol kick. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was looking for. And so I might, I told my wife, jokingly, I was like, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think I should get into red wine? And she just looked at me and shook her head. So, please, God, no.
I totally agree. Like, red wine is a slightly different experience, obviously a different flavor profile and alcohol experience. But it's when you want to drink a tad more like liquid.
Quantity-wise, yeah.
Yes. And I chill my white wines. We have a wine fridge.
Yeah.
And then the red wines are a little cool. We keep our house cold. 17th century English or European castles were pretty cold, so red wine should be tiny bit.
A 17th century European castle.
It really is, if I'm honest. I mean, we do...
From approaching I have to go to Greg's Moat and just, send a carrier pigeon across.
African
I love a
or
good
European?
Zin, easy to find here in Sonoma County. Yeah, Shredward's in wine country, so.
Yep, I used to live in Napa, the city.
I actually barrel-aged cab. So that's another thing Jonathan Marty said.
So, Jonathan, I totally agree. And sometimes they're horrible.
But sometimes they're great?
Well, no, like the Robert Mondavi bourbon-finished Cabernet.
That's what I was going to say.
I'm not a big fan of those.
I've never had a bourbon-finished wine.
It's a weird mix of things that maybe shouldn't, like one of these things is not like the other kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I like the bourbon barrel red wines. Wolf E is in the house.
Wow, so Wolf E, I mean, that's what really didn't work for me.
You brought up...
But I've only had like 2 different ones. Yeah. So it's not like I'm an expert in this.
You brought up the Robert Mondavi. Mm-hmm. I don't know much about that brand, but I have this personal story with it.
They do have a little bit of like budget, lower end stuff.
And so one time, my best friends...
But they also have a cave in maybe in Calistoga or Yountville. And so they do have some really good wines as well.
High-end stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So...
I need a bourbon, by the way. That is not a bourbon.
Do you want anything from the samples, or do you want... or just grab anything
grab something. But it needs to be like real bourbon, not flavored or finished or anything.
Okay. Well, now I don't know what
But it could be low proof.
What do we... Well, I think all these actually we're saving for our... here is another... There's a Lucky 7 9-year, 100 proof.
Oh, nice. Lucky 7.
Dang, you're up in Sonoma. Oh, okay, she's talking to... Oh, Mikey Likey Whiskey is here. Hey, did you text him, by the way, or did you text somebody, by the way?
I've not texted anyone. That I know
barrel-aged reds can be great, just do not buy the Scotch-aged reds.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like it would be a little bit weird. Aiden is in the house.
Yeah, we were talking bad about Aiden, so...
Mikey Likey Whiskey...
I didn't text him, so...
Sent us something... So we were wondering if you mind. We tend to not totally call out people without their permission, but we would like to thank you publicly if you don't mind us.
So is
talking about the
Mikey Likey Whiskey Mike? Well, I'll just say it like that.
Well, I'm guessing
Well,
Mike.
Yeah,
Mikey Likey Whiskey.
Yeah, but Mike.
The Mike we're talking about, the Mike we're thinking about.
Yes.
Yes, it is. So anyway. After that debauchery of trying to figure that out, let us know, Mike. Text Greg if you're okay with us. No worries. Glad you all enjoyed. Okay. Perfect. Okay, so the live stream, and Mike, I don't know if you saw this, and we didn't actually label this with what we did, so maybe he missed it. Mike,
he saw it later.
He did. Okay. We did a... Dennis Weidman is here. Cool Running is here.
Dennis.
So, Mike, we did a live stream, an impromptu Sunday afternoon live stream to open up the package you sent us, and they were
amazing.
Mm-hmm. And so,
we do individual reviews of a number of those, so it'll take a little while for us to get through those.
Yeah, we tried a couple of them, but that Maker's Mark Cellar Aged, again, I don't know if you watched the live stream, the rebroadcast, but that is my unicorn of unicorns right now, and I am so freaking excited to get into that. By the way, we have to get in before the end of the year so we can...
I am a little nervous with doing that review, and it's just because Ben's been sleeping with that bottle.
I have. I've been sleeping with it under my pillow, just guarding it with my life. Actually, okay, truth be told, I told you I was sleeping with it under my pillow. I've been doing more of like a hen and an egg thing. So it's going to... I don't like my bourbon cold, so I'm keeping it nice and warm.
I'm afraid it's a little too warm.
Okay, anyway, I got to tell you about this Robert Mondavi thing.
Okay.
Yeah, Aiden said that's far from fancy wine.
Yeah.
So I know that they're basic wine. So my best friend's dad has an enclosed trailer. Okay. And when Dan was moving, he really needed a trailer, and we were looking for one. He was going to rent one from U-Haul, and I said, "I'll talk to my friend's dad." Yeah. And he lent us the trailer, and it made all the difference in the world. Got him moved in like 2 trips,
which is appreciated.
Yeah.
Glad to get the guy out of the neighborhood.
And so yeah, for sure. And so Dan had asked me, said, is there anything I can do for the guy in return? I said, well, I know he likes wine. I'll ask him what he likes for wine. So he said, just the regular Robert Mondavi. That's my favorite wine. Huh. So I was like, okay, I've never heard of this before. And Dan's like, I don't care, if it's a $100 bottle or whatever. Yeah. He saved me a couple $100. Just, let me know and buy it. I go to the store to buy The regular Robert Mondavi, it's like $7 for the bottle.
That's awesome.
Well, this is the wine he wanted. So I bought him like a handful of bottles, like 4 bottles of it or whatever. And I talked to him. I was like, hey man, we wanted to get you a bottle of wine. If this is your favorite, more power to you.
Yeah,
but
right.
we're not gonna just get you a $7 bottle for, saving. Because I helped Dan move, so it was a big help to me too.
Sure.
Again, there's a text from you. For those of you who don't know, I'm not being rude and checking my phone on the live stream just for the hell of it.
Yeah.
I'm on full-on baby watch right now. I'm about to be a first-time grandfather, and my daughter, any minute now.
And we could hardly tell.
Yeah.
So he's going easy on the whiskey, just in case.
I mean, when I say any minute now, it could be any time this week.
Oh, sure.
And so I did talk to her earlier tonight. She's like, yeah, no, nothing's going on. So.
But, sometimes it could, well, I don't know about that. I don't have a lot of experience in that realm.
But you never know. I mean, who knows? So, but anyway, I probably do need maybe another pour. Unless, is there a beer in the fridge?
Why would I know the answer to that question?
I don't know, but you can find out because the fridge is right next to you. I don't think there is. I think I moved it all.
Oh, excuse me. There's an A&W that's unopened. There's a water.
No, we're not going to do that.
What are these?
Oh, no, that's non-alcoholic IPA.
Oh.
Not that I'm not down with non-alcoholic, but I don't like IPAs at all.
Old Granddad. Yeah, so he actually bought a bottle of Old Granddad for that joke earlier when he did the announcement, right?
Yeah, we did a live stream. We did an Old Granddad flight.
Yeah. Oh, it was like, what is the common theme amongst these?
Yeah, and I busted out the wild turkey, and I was like, so Greg, figure it out. We did an Old Granddad flight, and then I said, what does this bottle have in common with these?
Yeah.
And I told you, I was like, remember why I bought this bottle? And the reason I bought that bottle of the Master's Keep Revival from Wild Turkey is I bought it, thank you, Wolfie, for my daughter's wedding.
Yep.
And you still were like, I was like, my daughter got married.
With this bottle.
Yeah. And then I said, in a couple of months, I'm going to crack this bottle open again and have a celebratory pour. What could that possibly have to do with all the other bottles that are on the shelf? And then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
So, okay, let's do, what do we have down here? I know this looks weird.
This looks weird.
I'm just going to grab something off the shelf because a lot of these that we have.
Yeah, we're saving just in case.
Well, they're for some of these are the Whiskey of the Year contenders.
And we're just going to blend them all. We're going to pour them all in a big bowl.
Infinity barrel.
The Infinity.
I could probably just use the same one here.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be picky tonight. I know that did we do a review? Yeah, we did a review of this. This is the Uncle Nearest when they started making
their own juice.
Yeah, and I actually really like this stuff. I know people kind of have mixed feelings on this.
I think you're the one person in America.
This actually, I know, like awards don't mean a whole lot, but this one has actually consistently won a lot of awards. Not double gold in the San Francisco World Spirits.
No, that's a Jack Daniels thing.
Well, no, if anything that says double gold in the San Francisco World Spirits competition is garbage and you know it.
No, not.
It always is. Well, I'm not going to say it always is, but every bottle has that on it.
Well, double gold is their entry level one, right?
Yeah, that's the part. You show up and is your whiskey in a bottle? Yeah, double gold.
So there's triple gold, quadruple gold, and I don't even know what goes from there.
Oh, Ryan Frank is here. RJ the Fed is here.
Wow, new people all over the place.
What is happening, fellas? So this is a... yeah, so anyway, I actually really like this stuff. I'm a fan of the... I've never had the other one, the white label. That's, I think, a little bit maybe lower proof. We had the first two when they first launched. That was Nearest Green, right? That was his name? Nathan Nearest Green is who it's named after. They're all called Uncle Nearest. Yep. The ones we had, it looked just like this, but it was when they were sourcing versus their own distillate. And I've really actually enjoyed this bottle. So since I started getting
you asked a question earlier. A friend of yours asked you how to kind of get started in bourbon, and we suggested a little bit of pick a range of either age or proof or whatever. But have we asked the chat what they recommend?
I put it out there, but nobody said anything.
Yeah. So
Brian, Bourbon School is in the house.
If you were to have someone ask
Peter White, sorry,
maybe we know a little bit about bourbon, but how do we set up a flight? What's your recommendation?
Yeah. RJ says the Glen holders from Baker Drinks look amazing. These are
thank
amazing.
you.
They're awesome.
Yeah.
They're doing a New Year's live stream.
When's that?
I think it's on the 31st. I'm pretty sure. But they're starting at 9 our time.
Oh.
Or no, 9 their time.
Well, that would make
So it'd be 11 o'clock our time
well,
is when they start.
for the New York people. Like there's anybody on the East
No,
Coast that
not New
drinks
York.
bourbon.
It'd be 9 in Washington.
Yeah, 11 our time.
11 our time. And then it would already be New Year's.
Well, it'd be midnight.
Yeah. Right, yeah, they'll go on
Yeah.
right at midnight for
But
the
there's
New York
nobody
folks.
on the East Coast that drinks bourbon, I don't think.
I don't think so. Certainly nobody in that time zone. It's not
Yeah.
like Myron or Sean drink whiskey or Brian or Lauren, you know.
Or Sugar Kitty.
Who am I leaving out that is also in that time zone?
Who
I'm sure
else?
plenty of people. I plan to be there for the live stream, but I get home at 11 Central. Well, RJ, I haven't talked this over with my wife, but we usually don't go anywhere on New Year's. And I don't anticipate us doing anything, so I'll probably hop on there because I know they had sent a message out asking about that. We usually set up a flight either by proof, distillery, or finish.
There you go.
So this one, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a good thought.
But this one is for beginners looking to learn more about bourbon.
So I think
So I think
multiple distilleries kind of makes
One
a
of
little bit of
one
sense.
of each thing, and that's the other thing I was going to mention is maybe like an Angel's Envy. Now I know we're not particularly into that
horrible.
because of the lower proof. I think
and
it's
higher price.
It's good, but that's the price is the problem. that I
yeah,
have
the
with that
prices.
one.
There's so many better choices if you want to stay low budget.
Yeah.
it.
But I'm thinking like, what's a good entry into a barrel, like a wine barrel finished bourbon? And that's the only one I can think of that's really kind of out there.
Well, what's that? You moved it. Doc Swinson's?
Yeah, but those are expensive and they're high
little,
proof.
yeah, a little bit more expensive.
So they're not really beginners. So yeah, my friend was looking for some suggestions on a bourbon flight for people that are beginners and looking to learn. So for those of you that weren't here before, we kind of talked about like a down the middle standard bourbon, like an Elijah Craig small batch.
Evan Williams.
Evan
or
Williams,
something like that.
1783, not the regular, but the 90 proof, 8-year aged. A weeder, a high rye, like a Bullet or a Four Roses, and then maybe
See, I think I
a
personally
Woodford
would
or an Old
recommend
Forester.
pick around, like, let's say 90 proof or close, and pick 4 different distilleries. You know,
You could do that.
Do an Old Forester, do a Buffalo Trace,
those
if
are-
you could see it, but
Yeah,
those are
so
hard to
you could
find.
do, if you want to do the different distilleries, you could do Makers for the weeder.
Yep.
But Makers isn't really representative of all weeders. They have
Yeah, fair
their
enough.
own.
Yep.
But they're so popular that it's a good one to find out if you like it because you can really go down a rabbit hole with.
You could throw something like an Old Tub. I know it's a little bit higher proof, and it is a very unique flavor profile, but that works for some people.
Yeah, I know. I thought about that too. If you want to go the cinnamon profile, you could do Old Granddad Bonded. But again, I was trying to stay below 100 or maybe work up to one that's 100.
Or Wild Turkey 81.
Tiller's Bourbon Challenge is in the house. What's happening?
Who's Tiller's Bourbon Challenge?
There's a whole bunch of them. So I mean, pick a name. They do a channel. They've got a bunch of dudes on there.
Really?
Yep.
I don't know this game.
So yeah, that's I don't know. I'll probably just send it basic. I also want these to be findable,
Yeah, sure.
easily, and not expensive. Dickel if they like nuts. I would go if they want a nuttier profile. I'd actually go Heaven Hill. I know Jim Beam kind of has the market corner on the nutty profile in most people's opinions. I think Heaven Hill is way more of a nutty profile.
That's crazy talk.
You think you've said that before too?
Yeah, I think they're somewhat, but I think Jim Beam they're gonna like live and die on that hill. That's their flavor profile.
Heaven Hill way more. Opinion of Chattanooga of 111. We don't actually get.
I don't think we get that up here.
Yeah,
so
we don't
I've
get
never had it.
Chattanooga up here, so we've never actually had those. At least I haven't. Larceny small, but yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Is
Mikey,
Larceny
totally
be
agree.
good for a weeder? Hold on, what did Ryan Frank say? I'm always going to ask rookie questions with could help other people. What's the difference of a barrel proof compared to fill in the space other options? So a barrel proof is a whiskey that has not been proofed down. It's just whatever
That
it
means
comes
they've
out of
not
the barrel.
added
at.
water.
Yep, no added water. So if you get like a 100 proof whiskey or an 80 proof or whatever, that means it may have come out of the barrel or the batch at 120 proof. Then they water it down to get the 80 proof or the 90 proof that they're looking for.
Yep.
Barrel proof just means they don't add any water. Whatever it comes out as, that's what they bottle it as.
Sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes that's a bad thing. but it tends to be a good thing.
I don't know if I've come across one where it's been a bad thing.
Because when you lower the proof, you're also lowering the flavor by adding more water, as a general rule.
Yep. Yeah, so barrel proof are higher proof for the most part. Now, we've had that Remus Gatsby that is a 98 and some change, or 97, and that's actually at barrel proof.
Yep, true, but it went into the barrel at a really low proof.
Actually, it didn't.
Well, that's crazy talk.
So the master distiller for Remus actually...
George?
No.
It's not his name.
Actually commented on our video and said that their barrels actually...
It was like 115?
What?
I thought he said that the entry proof was 115.
No, I think it's like a 120 or something like that.
Okay.
But he said it's just the evaporation, and which is weird because it doesn't. I've never heard of any other barrel-proof bourbons that go that low.
Wow.
And Remus Gatsby consistently seems to. Granted, it's 15 years, but there's plenty of other ones that are that old that aren't that low in proof. Anyway, but he made a good point. He said actually no, we go in at the same entry proof, but the alcohol in the warehouse that they store those in, because of the heat conditions and stuff like that, alcohol evaporates, it makes it lower. Mm-hmm. And he said, and this one, I had to think about it, and I was like, God damn, he's right. He said, being barrel proof, having a higher alcohol content, said the alcohol doesn't actually add any flavor, which makes sense. So having a barrel-proof bourbon that gets down into the 90s, you're actually not losing flavor, you're just losing alcohol bite. And I had to think about it, I was like, I've never thought about that, but he's absolutely right, because you're not watering it down, you're not watering flavor down.
So presumably, alcohol has a lower evaporation point than water.
I don't know. I've been in bourbon for like 3.5, 4 years now, and I still don't know the answer to that question. I think it just depends on the temperature.
So I think a hotter climate, meaning I'm going to Texas with this, should have lower barrel-proof whiskeys so you get more flavor.
Nancy, are you still in the chat? Unless Sugar Kitty can answer this.
Sugar Kitty versus Nancy, go.
Because, there are some older age whiskeys. I mean, like, look at Old Dragon Bones. That's 18 years, 17 years.
From Canada.
And it's 140 proof. So is it the temperature that
it wasn't the thermal
But then
cycling.
Gatsby is 15 years, and it's, in the 90s. It's just
but that was in Kentucky, right? Is that where that's...
Yeah, I believe so. Oh, Shane is here. Story time. What's happening?
Story time.
Happy holidays. Wish you all the best. Just stopping by to say hi. Well, happy holidays to you as well. Let's get...
There she is.
Okay, higher proof can also disguise a lot of technical faults if there are any. And yes, heat has a direct effect on proof, while humidity is relative. Okay, interesting. Thank you, Nancy.
So so Nancy, we need to answer this. Oh, actually, she's not going to like this question. Why is it challenging to get a really good Texas whiskey / bourbon?
Well, she's the one to ask, because the ones that she's been a part of are the ones that we like.
Well, I would agree, and she does a really good job with a particular brand. But presumably she's tried other brands from Texas. Is it the heat that really makes it challenging, or is it the oak?
Does it age faster?
That's my theory, is maybe it's the oak. I don't know.
Are they using Texas oak? Peter White says
specifically Garrison is where I'm going with this.
What is that? Anknock 75 2014 is cast strength at 44.2. Wow.
That's 88.4, Ben.
Yeah. Because the heat cycle is so extreme. Heat in Texas is the problem. Okay.
But, so Sugar Kitty, I totally understand why you would say that, but we've had a whiskey / bourbon from Georgia, which is pretty freaking warm.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
It was exceptional. So was that an anomaly? Or
Still no baby.
Still no baby.
So anyway, when I responded back, I said, that's interesting that you brought that up. I had never considered that. I'm not going to argue with a guy.
Yeah,
I was you know what? That's a really good point. I said, I guess, maybe that alcohol bite to me is part of the cask strength experience overall. Mm-hmm. And it's a part that I actually like. Yeah. And so maybe when I was thinking that there were parts of that one that was a little bit thin, is because it was lacking that bite. Well, that bite does not add flavor. It adds... It's kind of like, for people who smoke, when I used to smoke back in the day, I like the bite in the throat when you take a drag off the cigarette.
Okay, I didn't really smoke, so.
I didn't want a cigarette that you would smoke and not get that. So it's just kind of part of the thing, I guess. As weird as that may be, heat isn't the only problem in Texas. Those people can't. I can say it. Fuggin. That's with G's. Drive. Atmospheric pressure has a part to play in the heat cycling as well.
Yeah, so Nancy says the heat cycle can be extreme, but that can be offset by one using, well, we'll put it on screen, 63-gallon barrels, which I don't know.
Okay, so that's a bigger barrel than normal.
So you have less surface area per liter of liquid or whatever.
Adding a little water to the barrels over time in 3 columns. So column distillation helps that?
3-column distillation. Oh, 3, comma.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Huh. See, this is amazing. This is what I never would have thought, like, in a million years, that when I first got into bourbon, when we started this channel, that we would have an actual legit expert on this.
Master blender / distiller who knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
So thank you, Nancy. We really appreciate you being here and helping out with the info here.
So it's kind of like science, which is what we're about here at the Bourbon Note.
Always about the science, for sure. What time do we have here? Okay, it's 6:49. So Bobby's going on at 7:05. So let's go to
California time, so we have 2 more hours.
Well, 7:05 our time.
Yeah, it's our time.
So everybody loves Bad Axe Bourbon, obviously, so you got to go over there and check out Bobby's live stream. Yes.
So,
Nancy says, thus, even a standard 53-gallon barrel in hot and humid Texas can be a small barrel with extreme evaporation.
I totally agree.
Evaporative loss. Okay.
If you're comparing it to like a Canadian or a Scotch or something like that, yeah, you're going to get far more evaporation, thermal cycling, and all that kind of stuff.
I'm trying to catch up on chats here. Sugar Kitty, not just days over 100, but also the deserts have a cool down to the 30s during the nights.
Yeah, totally. That's that whole thermal cycling with the expansion and contraction into and out of the wood.
It really is amazing when you start getting into the ones and zeros about like how this actually works.
Yep. The reality is, while we just we have fun with this liquid / whiskey, it's amazing.
That's what she said.
I don't know. It just seemed like there was something.
It wasn't inappropriate.
Anyway, but yeah, it really is. When we were guests on the Buffalo Community Podcast, and we were kind of talking about at the end, about like when you even consider like Greg was just saying, we have fun with this and we enjoy it. But I think everybody who maybe participates in any sort of whiskey tube thing is either learning about bourbon, which is great, but maybe just has a passion for how incredible it really is.
It really is.
Because it really, really is. I was saying on that podcast, like if somebody pours you a shot from a $10 bottle of Evan Williams Black Label, that drink that they just poured you took 4 years to make. Now, I know 4 years is fairly low in the whiskey world, but it took 4 freaking years to make the drink that's sitting in front of you.
And it took an oak tree
growing
more
to be
than
80
one.
to 100 years.
Yeah.
And it's pulling that, and it's pulling from the corn. And when you really think about all that, and then you take that, and then you ship those bourbons or the barrels over to Scotland, and they age Scotch into it, and they put another 15 years onto that, and it's still pulling from the bourbon and the oak, and it really is an amazing thing.
That's right.
Baumburgers uses that weird word oak that we can't pronounce, a baby chestnut, basically for some of their mix. Okay. Evan Williams is an 8-year, but I thought the Black Label was 4, and the 1783 was
It's
8.
impossible to say, actually.
I think Heaven Hill says it on their website. They're actually pretty open.
It is probably
about
possible to say. I was just trying to be fun.
Heaven Hill actually on their website is actually like one of the few distilleries that gives you a pretty decent amount of information on their whiskeys. Nancy says also if you use cooperage that has both a toast and a char in Texas, you want to use a lower level char, 1 or 2. Interesting, like Iron Root. Still Austin, we use a number 3, but we don't have a toast. So Nancy, could you explain that? And we have to have you on at some point. And I think in the new year, I was going to run this by you. I'll just do it publicly. I think I want to start having guests on more.
I agree. But good guests, not just any guests.
Yeah. Well, Nancy.
Well, yeah. Well.
So we'd love for you to come on so we can ask you all these questions and nerd out a little bit. But so I know like toasted barrel finish, where they'll put it in a toasted barrel afterwards. But there's like a toast level and a char level. So when you refer to that in that particular comment, and about Still Austin, when you're saying that there's a lower char level, or a number 3 char level, but not a toast. What does that exactly mean?
Presumably that means like less wood sugars that are exposed to the liquid, and so they don't get pulled into the whiskey over
Yeah, but
time.
I'm assuming toasted barrels are exposed to heat but not burnt like charred barrels. But if it's not my point is if it's not a 2-barrel finishing thing, it's 1 barrel. How do you have a char and a toast with just 1 barrel?
Yeah, because we know that
Nancy, by the way, said she would love to come on and nerd out. That would be
awesome.
amazing.
So we know, like Wild Turkey, they do a char
you.
level 4, and they burn the heck out of the inside of the barrels. Like it's impressive. It's
Alligator
firewood.
char.
Yeah, it's firewood by the time they're done, and that really imparts a lot of color initially when you get the liquid in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no doubt, there's wood sugars and other things that get imparted into the flavor. So we were curious about what different char levels.
Yeah, because
how that affects things.
Yeah, so I mean, and you would assume the char level is going to have a major effect. But what I'm saying is, like, I think I always assumed anything toasted is either inserting staves, like toasted staves, or a secondary barrel that's toasted but not charred.
Lowered the char level.
And so I'm wondering if she was maybe talking about that there's a double barrel finish maybe on some of those. Or if it's, maybe they toast them before they char them or something like that.
It's impossible to say. Actually, it's probably
I
possible.
bet Nancy could say it. Okay, so charring is done by flash fire over the course of no more than 55 seconds, depending on the char level desired.
Well,
right, okay, so I get that.
Fire.
But can you toast a barrel and then char that same barrel, and the toast level and the char level have an effect on that one individual barrel?
That's crazy talk.
So charring, okay, so that's the comment Shirley left.
Yep.
We got 10 minutes here before Bobby goes on. I'm going to have a little bit more of this, Uncle. Actually, you know what? Oh, damn it, I actually meant to bring those down. We had a couple of what was left over from the samples of the Nancy,
Nancy
Still Austin picks that we loved.
Yeah, we got that from Mark, I think, right? Was he who sent that to us?
Yeah, Mr. Great Shot sent some, and then Bobby sent some as well.
Okay.
So I'm just going to have a little tiny bit more of this. So... yeah, one of these days, Nancy, once we get past the holidays and stuff, we want to start having some more guests on and doing some stuff, so that would be a lot of fun. Yes, you can both char and toast a barrel. Okay, interesting. I've always wondered that, like, how that works. Like, do you toast the barrel, like maybe heat it with indirect heat? I think, and then get, like, the wood heated up? Does that open pores, and then you char it, and then that can help?
I think the anticipation for when we actually answer this question is going to be worth it.
Okay.
So let's just leave it there.
Nancy, don't tell us. Wait until... oh, no, too late. Okay. And a toasted barrel is done at certain temperatures for a certain time. So if you want to tease out the vanillins, coconut caramel smoke, etc., you toast the barrel over at least 25 to 30 minutes. Okay. So then you toast the barrel for that amount of time. Then do you char it, and that's how you can get toast and char in one barrel? Or is this always a 2-barrel
you're a monster.
process?
You're a monster. Don't answer the question.
Okay, don't answer the question, Nancy.
Yeah, we'll save that for the...
We'll save that for the... Yeah. Well, we're going to forget about it by then.
We'll save that for the interview.
So, yeah, that would be awesome. You should have a rep from IBC or Kelvin and nerd out talking about Cooperage aspects of whiskey.
So I've heard it's interesting you should mention that, because I feel, and I've said this for a couple of years now on the internet, that one of the most distinctive elements of bourbon is the oak. And I think different oak, from whether you're talking Northwest,
it's like 75% of the
or
flavor.
Texas,
make a
or
big
from Kentucky or Minnesota or whatever, really does come from different types of oak. And so, I would absolutely love to talk to a Cooperage or several of them and talk about what's unique about them. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Wolfie says, couldn't you char the barrel sides and toast the barrel ends? Interesting. That's maybe.
You're a monster.
Let's see. Aiden is right. You can do both, but if you toast the barrel, you can't do a very deep char because you start to compromise the integrity of the barrel. Okay, interesting. So it's a balancing act.
So that's another problem, is at some point you have to preserve the strength of the actual barrel to last several years.
In Sugar Kitty said, mentioned the Kelvin Cooperage, and I don't know a ton about that, but I know it's a different thing because they do, again, I can't remember what this is, but I know they have some sort of different process for charring their barrels, or there's something different about it that makes them special. They're like the last only people that do this one specific thing. And I actually have from Spirits Liquor in Melrose, Minnesota, this is a Heaven's Door store pick, and this one was aged with barrels from the Kelvin cooperage.
Oh, nice.
So that's the only experience I have with that, and this is a great pour. I love the Heaven's Door store picks. Mikey Likey Whiskey. I've been messing around with the double oaking some standard bourbons like BT, Old Fitz, Prime, and 1910, which would be a double. I was just going to say, you're double oaking 1910? Oh, Jesus. Greg's getting out of control.
Bad things happen. You want to explain this?
3010. If they turn out, I'll send in 2024. Yeah, so this used to be a White Dog. This was it's Georgia Moon Corn Whiskey. White Dog. You have to say it like that. You have to say White Dog. And we put a barrel aging stave in this, or one of those spires you can get off of Amazon.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that used to be clear. So it definitely it changes the flavor. We also put one of those spires in an Evan Williams Black Label.
Yeah, the cheap one.
Yep. And it does change it a little bit.
It does.
Old Pirate Bourbon is in the house just before we get ready to get out of here. Let's go right up until like 7:04 and give people a minute to get over to Bobby's live stream. So yeah, so for everybody who's in the chat right now, we're going to hop out of here in about 5 minutes. But if some of the mods could drop a link to Bobby's stream, and if you're in here and you don't know about Bad Axe Bourbon, fantastic channel. Bobby's a great dude, and he's going live right after we do. So go over and check out his live stream.
And hit the like button. That would be swell.
Yeah, please like, comment, subscribe to all of this. Correct pronunciation, dog, white dog.
Sugar Kitty, I don't see him speaking in the southern vernacular very often.
Did you guys open the Buffalo Trace White Dog Mash Bill 1? We didn't open the bottle that I have, but Greg has a bottle that we opened a long time ago.
Do we have a 1 or a 2?
You have a 1. We both have a 1.
Because I have 2 bottles, but it's the same mash bill.
I think it's a 1.
Okay.
Yeah, because we did a tasting of a Mash Bill 1.
But I do have a Spire that's unopened.
That would be interesting. Because those are bottled at 125 proof
right.
as well.
So I think I'm going to put that Spire in that White Dog, because that's, I think, the only bottle of White Dog I own. I have 2 bottles of it, but...
Yeah. So Nancy says, Independent Save Company is one of the best cooperators out there for bourbon barrels. 13 years ago, I did a VIP trip to them.
Wow.
We felled trees, milled staves, toasted barrels. That must have been amazing.
Yeah, it sounds like an awesome trip.
So yeah, OG, we have opened up Greg's bottle, so we've had it. White Dog it's not good. I mean, it's not meant to be good. I think they put that out there more as like an experimental. Like, here's what this is what whiskey is before it becomes what it becomes.
Yeah, again, like the oak, the barrel provides so much of the ultimate direction as to what the whiskey's going to taste like.
Yep. And the grains are obviously important and all that stuff, but the barrel...
Yeah, that's what's missing is the barrel influence and the aging.
What was I just going to say? Son of a bitch, I lost it.
You know, I wasn't even going to listen when you were talking, so...
Probably so we're both win on this.
That's pretty high expectation for me to listen when you're not even...
What's the time on this? That's going to get clipped for sure. So let's see. I loved it personally. But then again, I do some home brewing. Huh. Oh, so you like the White Dog. I remember, like, it's been a while since I've had that one. That Georgia Moon wasn't great, but that's also proof down.
Okay, so...
I remember it was kind of sugar cookie.
Buffalo...
Sugar cookie, not sugar kitty.
Yes, thank you for the... So the Buffalo Trace Mash Bill 1 was good. In fact, I thought maybe we liked it more than Blanton's.
The White Dog?
Yeah, which is Mash Bill 2?
No.
I'm just messing with you at this point, but it's close.
Penelope Toasted lists the toast and char in the batch. Okay.
They do, yep.
But I always assume that when it's a toasted barrel bourbon, that that's a double barrel, essentially. That they take it out of the charred barrel, put it in a toasted barrel for X amount of time, and then, you know.
That's our guess. Or sometimes recently they've been putting just staves in the same barrel, and they put
like Maker's Mark does.
Yeah.
And there's a handful of places that are doing that now, and I think it's actually a pretty good idea. So, okay, you people always set me on edge talking about sugar cookies.
Sugar kitties.
Now we have to come up with a cat cookie thing.
Well, did we
before we get out of here? So we're going to get out of here in like a
Cat
minute.
Stevens clip or something? Did we not do that or something?
We talked about it. We didn't get around to it just because.
Okay. Yeah.
So we want to get aside from having the usual Christmas decorations that we put up every year, I did go out of my way to make some extra. We didn't have this up the whole time. We probably should have had this up the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't want to get in the way in case we move behind.
Yeah, it could be a little bit festive. I mean,
but obviously, folks, it is Christmas. So from us to you, a very, very
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate, we don't care. Just enjoy
Celebrate
it
bourbon.
and have a
Have
good
fun.
time with your family and friends and be safe and make it into 2024. We're going to have a lot of fun in 2024. We just discussed tonight. We're going to start getting some guests on this channel a little bit
totally.
more.
And we
than
already have an
have.
idea who the first one will be.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know if she'll be first, but soon.
And also, before we get out of here, I do just want to drop in Digital Greg, Christmas-themed Digital Greg.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, honestly, I don't know why you don't go with that look every time we go live. I would be 100% for this. So, anyway, so yeah, Bad Axe Bourbon. Head over to Bad Axe Bourbon. I know I think Sugar Kitty dropped the link. Have a great night. Merry Christmas. Enjoy being at Gramps. Thank you very, very much, Mike. Yeah, by the next time we go live, I will probably be a first-time grandfather. So,
And third-time grandmother.
and there's Bobby in the chat right now. Look at that. He's watching our live stream right up until his. So
he is
everybody
dedicated.
head over to Bad Axe Bourbon. Like I said, I know there was a link drop. If you didn't get the link, just go to YouTube, search Bad Axe Bourbon.
Yep.
Go to the live stream. Bobby, I will be listening as I'm making food in the background. So
I have to go bake cookies.
we will be there. All right, let's get out of here. Merry Christmas, everybody. Have a wonderful, safe, and happy holidays and Merry Christmas. And we will see you probably before New Year's, hopefully.
Until next time. See you next time.